Hello and welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. Before we get into it, real quick, Jamal, I was on the way to the office today and I saw a billboard. It said something about your next all-in-one business solution. Is that right?
Yes, that is. Yes, that is. You're starting to see a lot of Odoo pop up on your social media on the way to work. And I'm sure a lot of people are curious, what is Odoo? What if I find out what Odoo is, maybe I can be a partner or a client. We're going to go over that today.
Definitely, yeah. So exactly what Jamal said, more on the partnership side too, what the software is, look at the numbers, all that good information. So you guys as the viewers have a little bit more information than when you started this today. And thank you again for joining us. We really appreciate it. Before we get into it too much, first I'd like to introduce Jamal. Feel free.
Thank you. All right. So I started here as a partner account executive at Odoo. I'm now a partner manager. I assist Odoo implementers and clients in finding a solution that works best for them and growing their business. Saman.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Jamal. I mean, I've been with the company for a little bit more than a year now. I'm heavily involved in speaking with IT consultants, implementers, make sure that they understand all parts of the partnership program and really growing their business, expanding their services that they offer. I'm even helping with their first couple of clients. I never mind that. I like to get my hands dirty. So really excited to be discussing elements of our partner and alliances program in more detail. But speaking of growth, I mean, let's start with the numbers, right? Let's see how Odoo's actually been doing and how we're standing out. So, quick look at our numbers and our global presence. We currently have 19 offices worldwide, with a few more in production that are set to come out later this year. More than 7,500 employees over the entire world. So, serving a community of the 7,500 employees, that's what we're doing, and then the community of 10,000 official partners. Alongside with that, 15 million happy users and 155,000 paid customers who trust Odoo to run their business every single day. So we love that. And I mean, looking at the map, right, we're in every major continent except Antarctica, which is, crazy. I mean, I personally wouldn't want to be in that office up there, right? But that's fine. Who knows? We never know what happens in the future. But to give you an idea of, the growth that's happening here in our San Francisco office, we've been here for just a little bit more than a year, and we're already seeing plans for expansion, already working on new floors. So the data, the facts, proof is in the pudding. We're seeing everything that's happening in terms of Odoo and, how quickly we're growing. But that might leave you wondering, what's the public consensus on Odoo? What's the group chat saying in other words, right?
True.
I could speak on that for sure. So we have a few endorsements, small companies maybe you may have heard of here or there, right? But basically over the past year, Odoo's had some headlines across the globe. We've had a review in a little company called Forbes. We've had a review in CNBC where we talked more about our Sequoia capital investment that we had recently. Alongside that, Capital G and their wish to invest 500 million euros within the company there, and also strategic partnerships with some of Big Four, in other words, KPMG and Deloitte. So wouldn't you like to have KPMG and Deloitte endorsing your portfolio of solutions?
Of course.
I mean, I think it's a simple no-brainer there, but leads us to our next question of what's the business scope looking like? Jamal, maybe you could expand.
Well, if we take a look here, we've got the software that one scales to meet all of your business needs. So if we're looking at top left corner, sales, moving over to the side, website, operation, manufacturing, coming around the corner, finance, marketing, human resources, and many more. These are just some of the different aspects of Odoo you can use. But if we take it a layer deeper, within the sales app, you can see CRM, subscriptions, point of sale, maybe even in marketing. You want to manage your email marketing or your events or maybe even surveys. How about maybe for your finance team? They want to be able to handle their invoicing, accounting, expenses, go over documents, e-signatures, and so on. This is just showcasing what Odoo can do and how you can have it all meet in one place. Now, show me another ERP that you're aware of that can meet everything with such an expansive scope. Now, with such robust capabilities out of the box, you might be wondering, why would a developer want to spin this up for one of their clients?
Yeah, I'm curious. Let's see.
So if we take a look here, we've got a variety of technologies underneath the hood, but all of them are modern, easily programmable languages. SQL, Python, JavaScript, CSS, with over 50,000 modules in the Odoo App Store. It still kind of boggles my mind on how many we've got there. It's pretty wild. But that just shows the variety of options you have in terms of managing your business, no matter what industry you're in.
Yeah.
So what other ERPs grant access to for the code for their partners? we actually do that. We give you a key to the city to build what your client needs, longevity of the relationship, but making sure that they're happy with the software. So we've seen how the back end works. But what about the question of usability? What verticals, industries, sectors does Odoo excel in?
Yeah, well, let's talk about that. So, our customers, they operate across complex sectors everywhere across the world, right? So, we're in a couple of different things like aerospace, fuel cells, healthcare, even everyday things that, some brands that we see in our supermarkets and everyday life, right? Brands that probably look familiar. And the cool thing is, with the help of partners and expertise from them, you can actually help clients maintain certain compliances, such as ITAR, HIPAA, FDA, things like that, to name a few. But in simpler terms, I mean, Odoo's already touching your daily life before you know it. Looking at some of these companies, we're on the road, Hyundai and Volkswagen, a healthy snack, Dan and yogurt. At your desk, how we're talking right now, IBM computers, when you want to play some tennis, some Zuno sportswear, and for cheat day, Krispy Kreme, because we know you deserve it, right? I mean, it goes without saying. And most importantly, your next client could potentially be right here, and it's a very doable goal, right? With that, looking at the USA market alone, we have more than 100,000 active customers, fueled by 60% year-over-year growth, and 800 plus new businesses in the USA every single month. 800. That's not including, that's not users, that's not employees, business owners. That's
Wow.
separate entities and businesses. Yeah, so it's quite
Impressive.
powerful. We can see that the global adoption is coming along, but what does this growth look like in specific regions of North America? I mean, if I pull out my little microscope here and look at this a bit closer, active client distribution, right? Of that 100,000 that we just talked about there, we have about 14% base here in California, 11% in Florida, 10% in Texas, and 6% in New York. So as we continue to grow in major markets across the US, other regions will take notice. So it's a great time to help us expand into these new territories. But what I want to know is who wants to help us penetrate these open markets and open geographies? While our audience ponders this question, let's go over what we've talked about so far.
So, Odoo's strengths. Let's tap in. First, everything sits on a unified platform. Instead of stitching together multiple tools, Odoo brings over 75 business applications into one system. That means your CRM, accounting, inventory, operations are all connected and speaking to each other,
Yeah.
the same language. Now, no silos, no duplicate data. It scales with you as you grow. Second, flexibility. Odoo is open source, so you're not looking into a rigid system. You can customize it, integrate it, and even export your data whenever you want to stay in control. Now, when it comes to cost effectiveness, transparent license structure, affordable renewals with no surprises, ecosystem synergy implementation, and competitive total cost of ownership. This is key. Now, when it comes to longevity, let's take a look. The yearly version update is continuously moving forward. So we're keeping track of all updates, making sure that clients are happy with their software, but more importantly, able to handle any bugs, any support systems. Maybe there's tickets that are coming in.
Yeah.
Those are also being taken care of.
Super.
Now, when it comes to combining all of that, you get a system that's unified, flexible, cost effective, and built to last. Most businesses don't realize that the bottleneck happens with growth because they're not ready to handle it. Now, with Odoo, you can solve that upfront.
Yeah. With great power comes great responsibility, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, what's required of the partner? Say, for example, you become a partner today. What does it look like? Well, there are different tiers we have. We've got ready, silver, and gold. How do we classify and differentiate between the different types of partners? As you can see in the ready tier, these partners are typically bringing in at least 10 users per year. When you say 10 users, any of those people who are using Odoo for their business, it could be any type of client size, but 10 users. They also have one certified team member. Now, 10% commissions is assorted to the ready partner level. When you go up to silver, how do you qualify for silver? Well, you got to have at least 3 certified team members and bringing in at least 75 new users per year. Moving on up to gold, 300 new users per year, and at least 6 certified team members. So as you can see, as you grow as a partner, as you're growing your team, as you're growing your client base,
Definitely.
you will also be compensated because you can see silver partners are getting 15% commissions, gold partners are getting 20% commissions. So Odoo partners also generate revenue by creating custom modules to sell on the Odoo third-party app store, as we mentioned earlier.
Right.
So question, What's up with these Odoo firms and referral programs that we're hearing about?
Yeah, I got you, Jamal. Let's talk about that in a little bit more detail. So, Odoo, we have a few alliance opportunities that we currently offer. I mean, beyond the standard implementation partnership, we've built these alliance tiers, to meet exactly where your business is, depending on where you are. Right. The goal here is flexibility, as you know, Odoo. That's kind of the whole theme of us. It's not just a one rigid fit. We are open to all users, contributors, all that you can name, right? So first, looking at the accounting firms here, this is more about visibility. So we give you free access to your client's actual database so you can stop chasing them for spreadsheets and other miscellaneous things like that. When you get the training to become a certified expert, this builds massive trust when actually, involving and operating with these different firms and companies and managing their financials on this platform because it's super important to them. So accounting firm will take care of that visibility and that knowledge portion for you to, make sure you have set in stone there. Next, looking at the advisory firms, this tier is for strategic consultants. So if you don't want to handle the actual technical implementations, but you want to guide the digital transformation, this is exactly for you. It's free to join, and we provide direct pre-sale support to help you win bigger RFPs and complex discovery sessions, making sure you have all the support you need there. After that, we have our referral program. So with this, it's a real low friction option. If you simply have a network that needs Odoo and you want a small 10% commission on their first months of revenue, you can easily speak with us about that. And there's also no long-term commitments here. So with that, it's just a straightforward way to monetize your connections and really have access to everything there. Last but not least, for all my developers out there, we do have this option, and this is an app store ecosystem. So you build specialized tools for millions of users to use. You set the price, Odoo compensates you for your work you've done, and you basically get to let that run while you're running other portions of your business, and this is still coming for you. Odoo only takes 30%, and the rest is revenue for you to keep on a recurring basis. So really love what we have there. Looking more over onto the ROI, what are the actual numbers of this, Jamal? Do you mind maybe going over that with us? Maybe
I don't mind at
typical
all.
instance,
In
yeah?
fact, I was a little too excited to get to this page. I'm so sorry. Now, ROI averages for ready partners. What we're looking at here, as you can see, we're saying, for example, you become a partner and you have a typical project size, about 15 to 20 users, whether it's somebody running a small law firm or some kind of office, or maybe they just started their manufacturing plant, maybe a taco shop. Let's imagine you have a client now. Now, you as a partner, you want to know, okay, how much would I be making and how much would I potentially charge? You can see here on the left side, we've got Odoo user commissions that Odoo pays out to their partners, maybe services you charge for, margin services, and service ROI. And at the bottom, total ROI. Moving across the board from left to right, we see low complexity, medium complexity, and high complexity. We understand that some of these projects that you take on might require a little bit more time, a little bit more help on development, or maybe even more hands on deck. Key thing is, you obviously, as the partner, you have full control over what you charge the clientele. That might be new to some of you, but that's completely up to you, whether you want to charge on the low end or on the high end, depending on what kind of projects you're dealing with. So as an example, you can see total ROI for maybe an average project, looking at 6,600, going into medium, around 14,000, and high complexity, 25 grand or higher. These are just some benchmark numbers that you can kind of get the wheels spinning and say, you know what, if I were to become a partner, what does it look like? What does the win rate look like for me?
Exactly. I appreciate that breakdown, Jamal. Really exciting to see. On the topic of numbers, while we're at it, let's look at some of the commissions that we distributed just last year alone in all parts of North America, right?
Just last year.
Just last year. So we have close to 12.7, almost $12.8 million alone in both the United States, Canada, and even parts of the Caribbean, basically including all parts of North America. You may be thinking, like, how much was this per partner on average? Average commission payout was actually $25,000 per partner. Now, that's some more, some less, depending on the size of your clientele and size of your team, right? But on average, it broke down to roughly that. It's been pretty stable since about 2010, and it's important to note that these commissions will be paid out on renewals and upsells. You also get all commissions paid upfront, meaning if your client is able to get onto a 3-year, 4-year, or 5-year contract, they can, number one, benefit from the long-term savings there, and then you as a partner, you get to get all your commissions paid upfront there. Once the contract renews, you do get to also collect that. So it's a nice little kickback that Odoo gives, right? But as you can see, partner compensation is good to go. It's been demonstrated clearly. But let's explore how Odoo actually helps partners grow and challenges them too at the same time. Jamal?
Well, essentially, as your partner manager, there's so much more that goes into this. But let's start off with trainings and demos. Obviously, as a partner, we want to make sure that you have all the support you need, all the knowledge you need to take on a majority of these projects. Now, in terms of taking on the projects, that we're skipping some steps to get there. How about actually closing, building marketing strategies, and so on? The partner manager will also assist you in that. If you're the type of person who's like, you know what, I'm really good with tech. I've been implementing for some time. I'm branching out onto my own. I'm a little bit new to how to close deals, how to really get the client to let me know what's going on. How do I get them to expose their pain points so that I can really give them a solution that fits their needs? The partner manager will support you in that. Now, when it comes to strategic support, growth plans, competitive analysis, even increasing your market share, the partner manager will go over all those aspects. Last but not least, we do have assignment and qualification of leads. So obviously you guys are wondering, well, how am I going to get the ball rolling? How am I going to get clients in the pipeline? Odoo partner managers will assist you in setting you up so that you can generate your pipeline filled with plenty of opportunities of whatever your skill set is focused on and make sure you're successful. Now, another thing to mention is the benefits. Once again, specialized advice, improved client satisfaction, improved client retention, and stability and growth.
Right. Amazing. I mean, it's basically like adding another person onto your team is what I'm hearing, Jamal, right?
Bingo.
Okay. Love that. Love that. And I mean, on the topic of support, right, let's actually see what you can expect from both Odoo, and their partners and the roles that both are playing in this collaborative environment, right? I mean, first, simply looking at Odoo and our licenses, we will be the ones taking charge and taking care of all the licensing there. You don't have to worry about that whole headache. We will be able to offer any options all the way from 1 all the way up to 5 years. Again, depending on the savings that one wants, we can leverage that and see what they're looking for there. You also get access to all the core applications. So that 75 plus applications we talked about, that's available in both our standard and our custom license. So regardless of if you go on a month-to-month, yearly, multi-year, whatever that may be, standard, custom, you're still getting access to everything you need to run your business, which is nice. And of course, like we talked about, you can maximize those savings and ROI potential. Next, from Odoo side, we'll take care of hosting and security as well, and we'll give you the option if you wanted to take that into your own hands. What I mean by that is we have a few different platforms. We have both of our cloud and our locally hosted option. Cloud being Odoo Online and Odoo SH, and our local being our on-prem option there. So if you as a partner, if you wanted to come in and take care of that, you could, but Odoo will, for the most part, take care of everything here. This also means specific compliance is available, so you don't have to worry about all that paperwork hassle, and also security patches are also included. So again, you don't have to worry about all the, the particulateness, and it's all the technical jargon that goes into this. It's even more for me than I could talk about, right? But that will all be taken care of by Odoo and our developers there. And last but not least, from Odoo's part at least, we have general support. So any basic things like a level 1 support, basic questions on the software, how do I use this, how do I use that, making sure that you're utilizing your tool belt of Odoo well and effectively. We'll have CS or customer success managers there to help you with anything and everything pertaining to that. So they'll point you in the right direction, help you steer your ship, make sure that you're not drowning, because it is a lot to take in, but it's a good problem to have at the end of the day, because Odoo is your one-stop shop again for all of your business problems there. There's also core versions available to upgrade every single year. So don't get worried. Don't feel bad that you're going to be lost in the past. We're not going to forget you. Every single year, every single October, when we have our newest and latest version of Odoo, we will have you up to speed on that and how to get that and access to that for your business. Now, talking at an Odoo and partner perspective, what exactly is included there? Well, first and foremost, partners especially will help with discovery, so identifying requirements and needs, pain points, bottlenecks, gaps, really making sure that Odoo is the true fit for you and your business and that you can benefit from everything there. Odoo and our partners will help with a thorough discovery, make sure that we're on the right page there and we're both on the same kind of speed there, if you will. We'll also review any project risks, any things that may be involved with your day-to-day operations, or any stage planning, things like that. They'll walk you through the whole thing and make sure that the whole path is laid out and that there's no surprises in the whole implementation process there. On the topic of implementation, partners, they come in and they bring in loads of expertise and technical consultants. These guys are very skilled both on the back end and front end of different types of industries, how they work, industry practice there too. So very important to have that. Also will help with API integrations. Let's say if you wanted to plug in other softwares into Odoo, we can also, our partners can take care of that. And also assistance with UAT and making sure that the testing is good, quality assurance is there, and that things are good to go live in production. Okay. Next, we have our training, right? So looking at our material training per module, we do have some types of trainings that we'll go over later on in just a bit here, but we'll make sure that you understand how to use everything within Odoo itself there. Partners can also help with any on-site specific training if you needed that, and also remote technical training as well. So perfect options for both types of users there. And last but not least, in terms of the specific support, we do have a dedicated 24/7 support available through some of our partners. They, again, take care of more of the level 2 and level 3 things there. So things that are more particular to you and your business, how everything's been set up, it's a one-to-one configuration. Any specific or unique questions you may have that maybe level 1, Odoo may not be able to handle, but your partners can, since they help to bring you onto the platform and customize it to your liking. Partners will be great sources for that as well.
True.
And again, on-site support for upgrades. If you wanted someone to actually be on site and help you with that, they can easily knock that out the park as well. So it's not a problem there. So that's kind of the big picture of how Odoo and partners show up for clients. But what happens when we approach the public, like at roadshows and expos? Do we do that, Jamal?
Yes,
Do?
we do.
No
Yes, we
way.
do. So, as you can see here, traditionally we hold business shows in different cities across the nation. Now, that includes Odoo Experience and Odoo Connect. And over the last couple of years, we've actually been at a couple of trade shows. Now, obviously, it's going to focus on various industries like manufacturing, energy, retail. Our partners are able to sponsor these shows as well. Join us on the road, spread the word about this new software. Well, not really new, but new to you, and all the services available. So if you're sitting there on the edge of your seat wondering, okay, well, what will be the next steps in becoming a partner? I'm excited to show you.
Yeah, dying to know.
All right. So we start off with membership activation. Then we go into trainings and workshops, understanding what you need to work on so you can handle a majority of the projects coming your way. Then we have partner manager assignment, where you're going to be assigned your own partner manager. Typically, if you're hired as someone, maybe off of LinkedIn or right, somewhere someone
Are they good? Are they not?
exactly.
What's
And
the
then
case
how
here?
much would the salary be?
Yeah,
Don't worry
gotta
about that.
figure all that
Odoo
out.
provides you with that personnel.
Easy.
Also, visibility on Odoo's website. This is key as a partner. You're going to want to get your face out there. What do you do as a partner? Maybe you have some projects you like to show off. That's what we have for our partner page. Now, next, we're going to help you generate sales strategies with your partner manager. So getting that pipeline full, bringing projects to your desk so you can accomplish that and bring your talents to the world. Now, when it comes to certification, it's not just a show, hey, I can do Odoo, I understand Odoo, I can give you Odoo, but also so the client feels comfortable knowing that you're certified by us.
Yeah, good hands, in other words, right?
Exactly.
Speaking of trainings, though, I mean, Jamal, you mentioned an important piece at that first, stop on that little graphic that we just had, and that was the trainings, because I think that is one of the most important parts. Again, like I mentioned earlier,
Very
with
true.
great power comes great responsibility. So you want to make sure that you know and understand all the capabilities and power within Odoo, and that you can actively and efficiently use all aspects of the software for your business, right? So we definitely help out with that. First and foremost, with the actual e-learning itself, this is an e-learning platform, obviously. It's 10 weeks of training courses, and this is totally free again. Videos for you to take advantage of on all the different modules, so you're not left in the dark wondering how one certain software, one certain module works in this case. It's also includes general documentation as well, so if you're more into the weeds and nits and grits of things, you can easily go in and read on how different parts of the software work there. And for more partners as well, they get access to partner knowledge base. If you wanted to take it a step further on the front end, we do have something called a PLO, or Project Leader Onboarding. This is an advanced training on all functional aspects of Odoo on the core applications. The PLO is good for training up to 5 people from your team simultaneously, all led by an Odoo instructor, fully remote, fully recorded. It doesn't get easier than that. And the expert, they'll walk you through everything in terms of how to implement from start to finish, how to use different applications and core scenarios that a lot of businesses have. And it also helps you get certified as well, which is one of the 2 requirements we had of being a partner, right? So it's kind of like knocking out 2 birds with 1 stone, in other words. The best part is that all of this is super digestible at just 1 hour a day for 7 weeks long. It's about 35 hours total in training, and this is 35 hours of training where someone can hold you accountable, make sure you don't fall off your horse, someone to act as a mentor, a coach, someone to guide you through this Odoo this Odoo path that we're discovering and exploring together.
Exactly.
Right. And, more importantly, it's someone to ask for questions if you get stuck or, you want to dig into certain things there. We have that. There's also a 3.5 week, expedited version that we have available too. Again, for all my developers that are watching right now, we have our technical training as well. Obviously, this has a higher development focus. It's 2 weeks of online training. This goes over all the nuts and bolts of the software itself, understanding the system architecture, creating a module from scratch, even configuration and deployment will all be covered in this 2 week, very thorough course here. So, in other words, it seems like an extensive curriculum, but never fear, it's fully supported and you can take action now. We have something for everyone who's coming over onto Odoo. So, simply put, Odoo is going to be used by everyone. This is an opportunity like no other. Odoo's market share is currently less than 1%, so it's definitely early days. If you can see how becoming an Odoo partner is crucial to remaining competitive amongst your competitors and other implementers, other software solutions alike, then find us on our socials, right? We're on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, we're even on LinkedIn, so check us out there. And also be sure to register for upcoming business shows and trainings in your local area because we may be coming to a city near you.
Very true. Once again, thanks for joining us today. Remember, speed is on your side. So the way that we can get you going with Odoo as a partner, the trainings, the materials, the marketing availability, understanding the software, how to pitch it, how to actually understand your clientele, we all have that ready for you to go. Don't hesitate. If you have questions, please, if you want to learn more, reach out to us, odoo.com. We're just a click away. Don't hesitate.